Hello everybody and welcome to another video. First of all, I need to apologise. I haven't uploaded in the last few days. I've actually really been struggling with insomnia and depression the last few days, so I've not really been in a very good sort of state of mind to be doing anything along these lines. But today I'm forcing myself forward, pushing forward, trying to push my way out of it and going to do something. And today we're going to be looking at a band called Children of the Frost. Now, they're a band I've never heard before. I do follow them on Instagram because they came up in a suggested thing, and I wanted to see how they were doing because they're a relatively new band, as I understand it. And they actually contacted me a little while ago asking me if I would check out their newest single, a single called Bane of My Existence. And considering, I've been struggling with depression recently, it just seemed a rather appropriate track to look at, a track called Bane of My Existence. Now, I tried to look up some information about the band. I couldn't find very much at all, unfortunately. What I can tell you is they are a symphonic metal band from Finland, founded in 2015. And their sound has been likened to that of Nightwish, Epica, and Eternal Tears of Sorrow. Now, as we know from around about my birthday time, I'm very, 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 very familiar with Nightwish. I'm very familiar with Eternal Tears of Sorrow as well. I like their music. I'm not overly familiar with Epica. I think I've covered them on this channel maybe once or twice before, but I'm not very familiar with their music. I'm really going to have to look further into Epica at some point. But yes, like I said, we're going to be looking at a track called Bane of My Existence. Now, I have some lyrics up here that come from directly underneath the video, so they should be accurate. Now, I don't know what to expect from this band. I've not heard any of their music before. But as I said, they're described as a mix of Nightwish, Epica, and Eternal Tears of Sorrow, so it gives a sort of guideline. Yeah, let's jump into this track and see what we have. So, Bane of My Existence by Children of the Frost. Let's have a look. Interesting. Well, there you go. Bane of My Existence by Children of the Frost. Now, first of all, musically, it sounded great. Definitely see the symphonic metal influences coming in there. I would say it's not quite as grand as the likes of things like Nightwish or Eternal Tears of Sorrow. I can't really comment against its likeness with Epico. It doesn't have as big a feel as they do, but they're a relatively new band, and this is the only track of theirs I've heard, so who knows, other tracks might have more of that sort of oomph and presence. Now, as for the vocals, now the female vocals, they feel a little flat, if that makes sense. They almost seem a little monosyllabic to me. Monotonous. It seems very monotone. There doesn't seem to be much up and down action in pitch, and that with the actual vocals. They're not terrible by any means, but I just feel there should be a bit more sort of variation in pitch. It still sounded good. The track itself still sounded good. The harsh vocals sounded really, really well executed. So overall it's pretty good. And like I said, this is the only track of theirs that I've heard. So those female vocals, they might be different on other tracks. They might sound better on other tracks. I don't know. But on this track, they seemed they seemed kind of flat. If you know what I mean. Anyway, the actual song itself, Bane of My Existence, it seems to be about a sort of abusive or toxic relationship, but they both are kind of into it. That's what it seems to be. The lyrics go: "Your teasing smile imprisons me. Your lustful gaze is so intense. Can't help myself. I lose control. Let your sweet rain wash over me. Hate how you sweep me off my feet. One touch, a kiss, I'm on my knees. Are you my blessing or my curse? Who is the master? Who is the slave? Slave to my own desire. Come on, give me your worst. Be the bane of my existence, my suffering and my bliss. Love me or show me my place. Excite and torment me." So this is because the actual song is done like a conversation between two people. And this is obviously the woman speaking. She's going, there's just something about you, your smile, the way you speak, you lure me in, and I hate the fact that you do. She says, "I hate how you sweep me off my feet, but with one touch, one kiss, one look from you, one smile, and I'm yours. I'm just sort of putty in your hand." And then she's like, "Are you a blessing or a curse? I can't tell whether you're good or bad for me. There's something I really love about you, but conversely, there's something I hate about you as well." And it says, "Be the bane of my existence, the suffering and my bliss." You're the worst thing that's happening to me, but you're also the greatest thing that's happening to me at the moment. There's a sort of love-hate relationship going on there. Then it switches over to the male and the harsher vocal. It says, "Once you've descended to my lair, know that you give yourself to me. You'll do precisely as I say. With disobedience comes pain. My dear, how beautiful you are, undressed, unable to resist. This is our twisted passion play. I'll give you pleasure. I will give you pain. Pain inside me must breed. I'll show you my worst. I'll be the bane of your existence, your heaven and your hell. Fulfill my dark desires, adore and worship me." So he's saying, once I've got you in my grip, I'll treat you the way I see fit. I'll treat you as my plaything, seemingly. He says, undressed and able to resist. So I can do whatever I want with you because you'll just sort of mold to my whims. It says, "I'll be the bane of your existence, your heaven and your hell. Fulfill my dark desires, adore and worship me." So it's almost like a bloody 50 Shades of Grey thing going on here. He's sort of being domineering, borderline abusive towards this woman, and she absolutely loves him for it, but she also knows that it's a bad thing, seems to be that thing going out on there, and then it goes, "No way out of my cage, now you're forever mine." So that's like the woman saying, "There's no way out of my cage," and the man saying, "Now you're forever mine." And then they go through the chorus again, but they're both sort of singing. They're both singing it together, sort of alternate, and it's written in alternate lines. So it says, "You're the bane of my existence. I'm the bane of your existence. My suffering and my bliss. Your suffering and bliss. You give me what I crave for. Don't let this moment end. You're the bane of my existence. I'm the bane of your existence. Your heaven is my hell. My heaven is your hell. Two victims of desire. The end of innocence." So, it does almost sound like an abusive, toxic relationship, but they're both kind of into it. Like I said, it's almost got a sort of 50 Shades of Grey vibe to it. I've never actually read the books, but I know what they're about. There's this whole sort of domination, the man being sort of dominating, almost bordering on abusive, and the woman knowing that this is a bad thing, but she still can't resist it. She's still really for it. She's still in love with this abusive, nasty man, even though she knows it's a bad thing. So, he is the bane of her existence, but she just can't help herself. That's seemingly what it is. So there you go. Like I said, it's a pretty decent song, but like I said, those female vocals did just feel a little bit flat. But not a bad track overall. Pretty good. And like I said, other tracks, vocal performances might be different. They might be a bit better. They might have a bit more variation in pitch. So I'm going to have to check out something else of theirs at some point. But yeah, I can't really say much else on that, so I will just leave that as it is. Now, if anybody would like to suggest a track for me to react to, then please do so. By all means, you can drop a comment in the comment section below, or message me on my Facebook or my Instagram, or you could even message me through Patreon, where you could also help to support this channel, which would of course be a massive help to me, since all content I create for this channel gets immediately demonetized, so I make absolutely nothing from any of the content I've created for this channel, which I think is a little bit unfair. I mean, obviously, I want the bands to get the recognition they deserve, and, I'm using their material, so it's fair that they get some of the proceeds from the video because I'm using their content. But the fact that they get all of it and I get absolutely nothing, I think is a little bit on the unfair side. But, that's just the way life goes. There is an option in Patreon where you can get your suggestion jumped to the front of the queue if you should so desire. There is a limit on how frequently you can do that. That's limited to once a month, I believe, and that's just to be fair to people who suggest tracks through other means, so that people who suggest tracks through YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram do actually get a fair shot at getting their tracks looked at as well. And if you do suggest a track through those more regular means, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, do know it could take me a while to get around to your suggestion, since I do get suggested so many new tracks every single day that my list grows faster than I can record the videos. But I do write down every suggestion I get, so it should get done eventually. It just might take me a while to get around to it, unfortunately. Also, MetalHead Reacts is a proud supporter of the Sophie Lancaster Foundation, a British-based charity whose main goal is to put an end to hate crimes, and one of the main facets of that is hate crimes against people of the alternative culture, and that's something I believe in very, very strongly, something I'm very, very passionate about, because it's something I've had to deal with for most of my life, something I've had to watch my friends go through, and it's something that gets widely ignored. It gets brushed under the carpet and treated as non-issue, and that's something that really, really needs to change. Because every day, all around the world, people from the alternative culture are getting violently attacked just purely because of the music that they listen to and the clothing that they wear. And, we're not just talking about, insults being shouted across the streets or getting shoulder bumped as you walk down the road. No, we're talking about real, brutal and violent crimes where people are getting violently attacked, brutally beaten, and are getting hospitalized, sometimes with broken limbs and sometimes even more life-threatening injuries. But we don't hear anything about this sort of thing happening, and that's something that really needs to change. The last time there was any widespread talk of something like this happening was about 14 years ago, when Sophie Lancaster and her boyfriend Rob Maltby were brutally and violently attacked by a group of 5 or 6 people, and they were beaten, kicked, punched, knocked to the ground, and had their heads stamped on so brutally and so violently that they both ended up in comas. Now, Rob Maltby, he did thankfully survive this attack. He was in a coma for around about a week, maybe a little bit longer, but he did thankfully survive. Sophie Lancaster, on the other hand, she was in a coma for 13 days before she succumbed to her injuries and she died. This young woman was 20 years old and she was beaten to death just because of her tasty music and the clothes that she wore. Now, when this happened, like I said, about 13, 14 years ago, this was all over the news, as it rightfully should have been. And after a while, as all things do, it sort of faded away. But the thing is, since that happened, the 14 years since that's happened, we've not heard a single thing similar. But I know for a fact there have been several hundred, if not several thousand, similar attacks that have happened to people of the alternative community, and not a word's been said. Just a couple of years ago, a young woman in Scotland was attacked in a very similar fashion. She was running a charity gig, and at one point during the evening, she had to go back to her home, which was a 5-minute walk away from the venue. In the time it took from her leaving the venue to get to her home, she was attacked twice by a group of people, again, a group of 5 or 6 people, beaten, kicked, punched, knocked to the ground, and brutally attacked twice. Luckily, a passing taxi driver put an end to the attack, but he didn't check to see if she was okay. He just buggered off once the group had scarpered. She didn't get any help until she got back to the venue where she was hosting the gig and to where her friends were. Where was this in the news? This wasn't in the news. You know, this happened in Scotland. I could walk to Scotland from where I live. I didn't hear a single thing about this. This wasn't on the news. This wasn't in the papers. Why didn't we hear about this? Because she didn't die. And that is unacceptable. We shouldn't have to wait for someone to lose their life before something like this gets spoken about. You know, we hear every day about all these other hate crimes like sexism, racism, homophobia, transphobia, religious hatred, ableism, you know, etc. We hear these every single day. From the most heinous and violent of crimes, where someone is murdered because of the colour of their skin, because of their religious beliefs or their sexual identity, down to the most childish and pathetic of these crimes, where some entitled white woman is calling the police because a family of colour are having a picnic in a public space. You know, we hear every facet of these crimes every single day on every media platform. But we hear nothing about these people that are getting brutally and violently attacked because of their taste in music and their clothing. Why not? You know, do these people not deserve justice just because they listen to heavy metal music? You know, these people are getting violently attacked and beaten to within an inch of their lives, and nothing is being said, and nothing is being done, and that needs to change. Because the longer we keep ignoring this, the longer we keep brushing this under the carpet, the more these people are going to think that they're going to get away with it. And it's only going to be a matter of time before what happened to Sophie Lancaster happens again. And we cannot allow that to happen. We cannot allow someone else to lose their life over something as petty as the taste in music. It cannot, must not ever happen again. It should never have happened in the first place. And this is what the Sophie Lancaster Foundation is all about. They want to raise awareness of the fact that this sort of thing is happening and that it is a very real and very big problem. You know, this has been going on for decades. And they don't want to see another family go through what they went through when they had to watch their daughter slowly die over the course of 2 weeks. But if people keep ignoring it, it's only a matter of time before that happens again, and we absolutely cannot allow that. You know, so if you'd like to find out more about the Sophie Lancaster Foundation, there is a link to their website in the description below. You can go over there, find out what they're working on at the moment, find out what their overall goal is, because they can explain it a lot better than I can. And if you can help them out in any small way, obviously don't feel obligated to do so, but if you can help them out in any small way, whether it's a donation through their website or something as simple as one of these Sophie wristbands. I've got these ones as well. They've got a whole bunch of other really cool stuff as well, but the smallest amount can make the biggest difference. And the sooner we bring more attention to this, the sooner we get more people talking about this, the sooner we can help to stamp out prejudice, hatred, and intolerance everywhere. But I'm going to leave that as it is for the time being. Thank you all very, very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.